The joke is, let's be real, we can all say it now that he doesn't play anymore. And spoiler, I think I even saw that tweet where he admitted it was all his fault might have been deleted off Twitter by old Danny. How many fucking pentakills did Danny get? I'm going to guess, no joke, bear in mind Uzi I wasn't playing League of Legends, Monty. I'll bet Danny has more pentakills in competitive than Uzi I. Because Danny played a billion games of like shit like Zeri and just was protected in team
Tristana, Jinx.
Yeah, all that shit.
I mean, his famous ones were, shooting fish in a barrel and the Baron bit, where he got those. And it's not to say that he was doing his job. Like, I think he did have some really good plays, but a lot of these were on reset champs where he was set up for it. By the way, I'm just going to take a look at our buddy Danny's totally legit stream and see, because remember, he very importantly is part of the EG Content Creator Collective. Okay, in the last night,
sounds Orwellian as fuck. The Content Creator Collective sounds like. And now you're going to start on your level 1 pills, which will sort of acclimatize you to the kind of vibe that we have here. It's fun, but it's a bit chilled out. Yeah, you're going to need a nap now first. Like, give me a break. Go on, they hit me with it. When did you last stream? 7 years ago.
April 24th, Thorin. April 24th. Yeah. It is now July. In the past 180 days.
Well, it's obviously Hungry Boy Summer because he's just out there. He's just off in the realm, isn't he? He's doing whatever now.
In the last 180 days, he has streamed for an average of 611 viewers, which, by the way, is majorly boosted by on March 20th. I think he got hosted by LCS or LCS Challengers, maybe.
Yes, it's the minimum they could do for him, to be fair.
He had 4,600 viewers that day. His peak viewers were 7,900 on that day. Otherwise, his average viewers were 214, 28, 51, 162, 357, 358. So under 500, basically all the time. He was playing Lost Ark most of this time. He streamed for 59 hours for 36,000 hours watched in the last 180 days. And he last streamed on April 24th. So definitely totally real that he was going to become an EG streamer, guys, and not complete bullshit from the EG org. So got to give you those updates because otherwise EG just gets away with it. By the way, really weird that there's still no punishment for EG for abusing the rules of the LCS during that substitution, which we know that they did now.
Didn't delete the tweet. All I'll say is this. Don't look at me, mate. Go and ask your pal Philip Aram. He runs the Player Association. They're doing walkouts and historic shit when there's injustice. I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of it. Spoiler, I'll just say it here because I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm so sick of people using political games of I'll just speak in a quiet, soft voice and say all the fucked up shit and I won't get in trouble. I'm just going to say it right now. I believe the LCSPA, as well as Riot, because they made the LCSPA, is part of the cover-up. I believe the whole purpose of that investigation is A, to never finish, but B, say you force his hand, Monty. Say people never stop commenting. They'll just resolve it like they resolved the Lena Doublelift one. They'll come out and go, we didn't investigate certain things about his personal life, but in what we did investigate, we didn't find anything. Let's all work together for a better community with mental health awareness. If these guys cared, mate, they'd have done something. Why did the LCS players not walk out when an org basically coerced a player into destroying his mental and physical health to qualify for Worlds? Why did players not walk out on that? I'll tell you why. And I'm going to use his name because he's the bozo who keeps putting his... Because people like Doublelift don't give a shit about Danny. Look, Doublelift's made of different stuff. Doublelift will play through anything. You've seen that. So to him, it's like, wow, I risk my job because you can't hack it. Sorry.
It's not an unreasonable position for Doublelift to be in.
That's just his take, yeah.
If anybody has the right to have that attitude, it's fucking Doublelift. He fucking walked the walk.
I told people I could only hint at it, but there were other members of the EG team, the exact lineup Danny was in, who don't actually share these concerns, Monty. Their take was he couldn't hack it. He should have just been kicked out the team way earlier. It's not my problem. Why is he an evil genius? I can handle it. I just want to play. Let's go to Worlds with a different ADC. Some of them weren't on this train of but what about him? That's why that whole subject was so dirty. As you pointed out, there never would have been a drama if me and Richard Lewis didn't publish our content. And even then, thanks to wankers that were literally propped up by the League of Legends subreddit mods, they were able to successfully engineer an industry-wide cover-up that went, it was just systemic issues, TM, end of story, do not pay attention to the evil genius's CEO behind the curtain.
It's absolutely wild that there's been nothing done about this.
There'll never be anything done.
By the way, all the evidence is there, guys. Look at Richard's multi-article series that's on his Substack, where he has a bunch of people who worked at Evil Geniuses that he has anonymously numbered. These are primary sources that could be interviewed by Riot.
This Rich,
volunteered to be quoted by Richard in his articles.
I've got a little gem for you, Monty, because I can do this every now and then, and the way I do it's different. I just like to drop a breadcrumb that's not really for the fans. It's for the people in Evil Geniuses. So when they see it, they go, "The fuck does he have in there?" And they shit themselves for a moment. For a moment, they go, "I better change my underwear." All I'll tell you is this: after the Danny story, I was ready to put it to bed, Monty. I was going to do that thing about the gamer.com who's an idiot, but that's in CSGO, and that's mainly comedy and making fun of her. I was done with that. I did the Evil Geniuses CSGO story, which led into the Danny story, which I told you on this show. I just decided one day, right, no one else is going to do it. I have to get to the bottom of this. So I did. I started looking into it. Then Richard looked into it. He did his official report. I did my video. But after that, as is always the way with disclosure, I had a bit like, I can only speculate, but I had a lot of information sent to me that I would imagine maybe Richard got. And it was all people in EG, some of them still in Evil Geniuses, sending not just info, Monty. This was like dossier level shit with screenshots and like who said what and on what date and going over multiple games and Dota and CSGO and League of Legends. And it was telling you how the hierarchy operated. It was telling you actual things that were quoted by people said in meetings. And at one point in time, are you ready? This is what will make them shit themselves for a quick second. I even was seeing screenshots from Slack conversations. Can you believe that? And you know one screenshot I saw, Monty, I'm only going to reveal this one because it's spicy, but it's not a big deal. In one of them, Nicole LaPointe Jameson actually says jokingly that she's preparing to have a charity boxing match with me, Thorin. Oh, that's right. I'm reading yours. You thought that was in the fucking WhatsApp group, didn't you, homie? No, I got it all, baby. Now, here's the thing. I don't particularly have a story there. What's the story? Evil Geniuses is full of shit. As a corrupt hierarchy, that's Evil Geniuses fucking Nicole LaPointe Jameson, CEO from Peak 6, propped up. And then she's just promoted a cretin person whose job was to like look after your wellness and tell you how to do massages to like second in command, literally like a dictator making mad moves on how people practice, fucking up all the divisions of the games. No. That's not a story because I already told you that story in the EG Danny story. If you don't care, you don't care. I'm not here to convince you. I just put the info out there. You do with it what you will. So that I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm just saying, I've just seen some stuff that they definitely don't know I've seen. And it's no good. So it's no surprise Richard had all the straight fire shit. Like, notice he had the same sort of thing. He wouldn't just have, they did X. He would have, they did X. And part of the internal communication was, it was because they were told to do Y, Z, and for reason A. That's the fire. When you have that part, you have it all. That's all the drama you want.
You know what I also love about, the way that this really hasn't been addressed by anybody with ties to Riot in the North American scene is that they can't say anything because of what? Because there hasn't been an official announcement or an official investigation. Why would Riot release an official investigation if they could cover this up? What are they waiting for?
Let me ask you two questions. Right? When they began investigating you, Monty, how long did it take to reach a conclusion, punishment, and sentence?
Well, I actually don't know when they started investigating me.
Seems like it was about a month or two, right?
Maybe.
It was pretty quick. The turnaround was pretty quick from when you first.
It was very quick. It was very quick.
Right. The Danny thing happened in September last year.
Yep. And all the information came out publicly.
You ready for another one? Here's another question. Year. Remember the precedent Riot set with Carlos and G2 in VCT? They took G2, one of the most eligible candidates ever. They'd even been one of the better EU orgs in all of Valorant. And they denied them a VTT spot in a very quick turnaround, Monty, because of a bunch of drama over what Carlos did with a tweet, a follow-up tweet, and some likes on Twitter. Every single one of those tweets, you would never be able to go to court and get sued for that. You never did anything wrong for that. It was just essentially considered off-color or offensive, right? They had an insanely quick turnaround and denied the entire G2 division a Valorant spot for VCT. Then they let in instead Evil Geniuses, who at the time, by the way, Monty, was irrelevant in Valorant. They didn't have top players. They even kept the original 5, added a bunch of better players, said they were doing a 10-man roster, and low-key quietly moved the other ones out of the lineup, right? In doing so, here's the question. You saw the furore about the Danny thing. Oh, it's months and months ago now. Where was the turnaround? Why aren't they being threatened to be kicked out of the league? Why aren't they being told you have to sell your spot like Monte did? And you have to do it by this date for this much to this partner? Because this is the game. EG is regime approved. Carlos
it's
is not.
cronyism. It's cronyism.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that is, by the way, guys, I have been told by a lot of people that Valorant partnerships were cronyism. I mean, look at what happened to Optic. Now, it is true, by the way, guys, that Optic fucked up their application for partnership. But you know what? When they fucked it up, they came back and they fixed it. It wasn't like Immortals that submitted for LCS franchising and then they submitted a very underwhelming application, then never fixed it, and then they got denied. Optic realized that they fucked up, submitted a new application, and they still were denied out of spite, despite being the best team in Valorant. I mean, and also having insane brand value. Yep. I mean, the Optic fan base is enormous, as we know in North America. And so they still got denied. And you know what's wild, Thorin, is that you would have thought maybe that Optic would have been the team that came in because of the G2 stuff, where it's like, well, G2 fucked up. Well, we do have Optic. They did make a second attempt at a partnership application that was pretty good. You know, maybe we should put them in instead. No, EG, for literally no reason. For no reason. It's outrageous.
Like you said, they were part of the group. They're regime approved.
Yep.
It's a mixture of the ownership group and who runs the team. The other reason, by the way, why people like Optic probably weren't, and Carlos, is they aren't as they're not viewed as controllable. They're not people who are playing ball in the same way. Like, here's the other problem they have, Monte. Once you're locked in like EG is, it's a lot harder to kick you out. Now you even have legal issues on your hands, right? You can't kick you. They were never going to kick G2 out of LEC. But if they haven't yet gotten into the VCT, and this is the secret of how you do biased things, you can have any reason to turn someone down, Monte. Oh, we just didn't feel the vibe. They didn't align with our core value. You know, we didn't have the same vision and direction. Like, once they're already in, now Carlos is a massive nightmare for you, mate. He's going to keep saying things if he wants. He's going to keep having battles if he wants. You don't want to, if you already see where it's coming from, it's like, bro, he's already got us over a barrel in LEC. Fuck it, don't let him in VCT. Kick him out. In fact, sort of imply to G2, they need to remove him. And you know what? Are you ready, Monte? Here's how you know now G2's fine. Because who replaced Carlos as CEO? Do you remember? Oh,
the
Riot
Coke
guy.
He was a
former
Coke
Riot
guy too. Yeah, the Coke esports.
Well, he literally worked for Riot esports store,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I believe he worked at Riot Games. Like, they just replaced him with one of they essentially cordycepsed fucking G2, and now it's just like a fucking the insect's dead. It's just Riot Games inside, pop it in it, and it's going towards to be eaten by the Riot Games fish. Oh, that's weird.
It's all right, Thorin. We're actually playing out the Last of Us right now. We are the last people who are not mind controlled by the developers.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, you know, be a pleb and don't.